everyone. I'm Sarah Davis, and you're watching Fight News Now Extra. Coming up next, we have the latest Newsmakers to get to, where one fighter is charged while another is released from jail. We also have our panel of John Pollock, Ramdeen, and Robin Black to debate or analyze what's happening in the MMA world. So let's get to it. Former UFC fighter Jason Miller has been formally charged with vandalism and allegedly breaking into a church after he caused some mayhem in an Orange County church and was found naked but coherent. Now it looks like Miller could be locked up in the slammer for up to a year. And 10 days behind bars was more than enough for Ian McCall. Upon his release, he said cops thought that he was a drug dealer because an enemy had told them so. He said cops arrested him at home in front of his wife and daughter and tore apart his car and house. What did they find? Nothing. And we all knew Tito Ortiz wouldn't be able to stay out of the spotlight after his retirement from MMA. We told you about his new MMA management group, and now he's announced that he's looking to scout amateur talent and teach them the way for an amateur fight series in Southern California. And hey, since everybody is weighing in on Jon Jones, we thought we'd share Matt Mitrione's most recent comments on the champ. And I can tell you, he's definitely not on Jones's side. In fact, he wants to hurt Jones. Check it out.
I'm not a fan of Jon Jones as a person. I think he went from being a pretty cool guy, pretty humble, to being about as arrogant as I can handle. I think he shows a lot of douchey qualities when he talks about well, I'm a business, and I'm just being honest, I'm a businessman here, and I got less pay-per-view money for this guy, so I wouldn't want to fight him. Dude, you want to fight him because he's probably the best next person in line. If Jon Jones talks about going to heavyweight, I'd love to welcome Jon Jones to the heavyweight division.
Really?
Hey, I'm not gonna have a title anytime soon, dude. So it's not gonna be some super fight. But if you want to come play around in the heavyweight division, I'd love to try to punch you in the face.
I think there are still quite a few people that would love to punch Jones in the face. Let's see what our panel thinks about this ongoing Jones hatred. Pollock, Rammer, Robin, how long are these grudges going to last against Jones?
Well, I am stunned here because I took from that clip that Matt Mitrione would rather fight Jon Jones than Phil DeFries at the end of the year. This is shocking.
Oh, come on. It's just anybody is trying to create interest, and Matt Mitrione is just one of those guys trying to throw his hat into the mix. Jon Jones, one of the biggest, if not the biggest names in mixed martial arts, and Matt Mitrione clearly wants a piece of that pie.
For sure. And you know who we have to thank or blame for all this? Chael Sonnen. Basically, any of the guys that are very good at generating this kind of hype, and it really is a skill, to be able to look into a camera and create some interest, create some drama, and really not only entertain the fans, but advance your career. Well, some of them can do it, guys like I mentioned, like Chael Sonnen, and some of them can't. But now they're all trying to do it, and it's getting a little tired.
I don't mind it because, the UFC is in desperate need of some stars. And if some guys like Matt Mitrione, and we've all had a chance to talk to this guy, he is a larger-than-life type of character. And I think if he gets behind this kind of almost pro wrestling approach, I think a new star could be created.
Do you feel, guys, over the last couple of weeks, the window has gotten smaller or larger about Jon Jones' eventual move up to the heavyweight division? Everyone anticipates it, and a lot of that was because of how thin things looked at 205, but all of a sudden a lot of guys have come up now and are presenting some interesting fights for Jon Jones at 205.
Yeah, I think he can definitely fight at 205 for a while, and I also think part of the deal is nobody was all that interested in fighting him. He had been hyped up as this unbeatable superstar, this young, long, really talented guy that you didn't want to fight. If you get a little hatred in there, all of a sudden guys will fight him, and I think that's what's going on.
We know that he's supposed to make the move to heavyweight sometime in 2013, and I think Matt Mitrione just would love to be the first guy to get in there. Jon Jones is just simply a phenomenal athlete who's taken out some of the greatest stars in the 205-pound division, and everybody just wants a piece.
And look, let's look at it logically. And none of this is really logical when guys are just yelling about punching each other in the face. It's the punching in the face business. Should we be surprised he wants to hit this guy? But, you sit there and you try to create the ability to make a lot more money for yourself. That's an admirable goal. Everybody's doing it. Everybody out there working in any kind of field is trying to make some more money. You're also trying to be entertaining. But after a while, being the 15th guy to the party, do we care if Matt Mitrione wants to punch him in the face?
He's just hoping he's the guy. He's hoping that the UFC says, all right, former NFL athlete. Why not?
Sure, but it's time now for the guy to be the best fighter again. The time
He
for
is,
the
though.
guy.
He already is that.
He's the best fighter in the heavyweight division? I mean, I want to see the best fighters fight. I want to see the champion have to take on the best challenger, not the guy who talks the best.
I think you have to balance those two because you know what? Sometimes the best fighter, people don't care about. The John Fitches of the world, unfortunately, there's a reason they have to win X amount of fights versus another guy who can talk himself into a fight. This is the fight business. That's it.
John,
It's the fight business, but you don't put a guy in a championship fight because he has a red mohawk and talks some smack.
Wise man once said,
and then looks embarrassed in front of everybody.
Accept $1 in exchange for entertainment, you're no longer a sport, you are a business. And that is what they are running.
Okay, what wise men said that? And don't say John Pollock, or I'm going to be verklempt right now.
The one, the only Lou Thez from his biography, Hooker.
All right.
Now we move over. A few legal notes, everyone. Jason Mayhem Miller just recently charged for a misdemeanor and vandalism for his incident earlier this summer. And Ian McCall just released from a 16-day stint in jail. John Ramdeen, you hate these stories.
Yeah, I hate these stories. Like Jason Mayhem Miller, he's not fighting in the UFC. He doesn't have any contract.
Well-known
with
figure.
Pardon me?
A very well-known fighter.
Yeah, but we're talking about a sport. The sport is mixed martial arts. There's lots of stuff that we can cover. The World Series of Fighting is one of those things that we could cover. Instead, Jason Mayhem Miller's naked, caught in a church, and this is the biggest news that we have.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one, Ramdeen. I mean, really, don't we love the skill of these guys? Don't we love the way that the physical things that they can do? Don't we like seeing these guys compete?
Guys, this is 2012. You're arguing that people don't care about this? A sensational story about a guy naked in a church? Of course people
I honestly
care.
don't think they do. I think we just
You're crazy.
force feed it to people. If we want to sell things to the lowest common denominator, we can go sell.
You guys argue every week about how we have to sell personalities. Personalities.
You're selling,
is
yes, but it has to go
Guess
hand in
what?
hand with the sport.
No one cares about a guy's right jab when it comes to a story like this. People gravitate to these stories, and I think if you're a journalist, you're ignoring a huge part of your audience.
If you're going to sell out action and skill for nonsense,
then they should
go
cancel
ahead.
The Ultimate Fighter because boy did that kill the sport. Jason Thacker being pissed upon on that first episode, boy did that really hurt
No,
the
but
sport.
out of that you had contenders. You had Koscheck, you had Swick, you had so many guys on the Ultimate
You had Chris
Fighter.
Lieben and you had Josh Koscheck.
Yeah, and that show has gone to crap, to be honest. And now nobody's that interested in it. And the biggest selling fights are the fights when the best guys fight.
I disagree.
And I want to punch both of these guys in the face.
And I'll be the ref. Thanks, guys. And if you want to set up your dream matches, check out our fantasy pool on our website at fightnetwork.com, where you can win all sorts of prizes from Everlast. That does it for us, but there's more Fight News Now Extra coming up next, so stay tuned.